Monsters that sing. What's not to love? Let's begin looking at my singing monsters massive roster with the Forcorn. Hello everyone! My Singing Monsters is a monster collecting video game franchise where monsters sing. What a shock! And with how many requests we've had for its creatures, there's no time like the present to begin giving them that spec-evil reimagining. Please consider liking and subscribing if you like this video to make your voice heard. And now, without further ado, let's get started! Whenever we venture out into nature, it's not unusual to be greeted by a veritable orchestra of songs and calls coming from creatures of all shapes and sizes. Today's file takes us to one among many of these amazing singers, one whose calls have given it a lot of fame in a post-internet world, Helaoidos prasinopus, also known as the common Forcorn, a small flightless bird native to the wetlands of New Zealand. Well adapted to this ecosystem, their wide feet help them walk among the ponds and flooded plains, while an oily secretion from their uropedal gland keeps their plumage impermeable. These animals are extremely social, living in huge groups called caches, and sometimes sharing their habitat with lots of other non-predatory animals. They will communicate with one another with very characteristic warbling calls, which you can hear right now. These calls are aided by the use of long crests to signal other members of their species, being used together to signal the presence of potential predators, bond with each other, and locate their cache as they forage. Furcorns are exclusive herbivores, known to mostly feed on semi-aquatic vegetation and ripe fruit found across its territory. Their mouths, as shown in this illustration, are full of tomia, tooth-like structures similar to those of geese. They will use this tomia to rip apart vegetable matter, which they will grab in huge mouthfuls. Their wide mouths with almost absent beaks, similar to those of nightjars, are of great utility during nesting season, as they'll allow the Forcorns to move and arrange their eggs with ease. As easy as their life may seem nowadays, these animals evolved in an environment full of predators, before human activities and climate change caused their extinction. While their massive caches are themselves a strategy to protect them from predation, their uneasy demeanor is most characteristic of this lifestyle, as they'll very quickly escape at the lightest provocation. Their crepuscular habits are also tied to this behavior, as this would help them stay alert during the time when most predators are active. Their coloration, for their part, helps them stay hidden while resting and feeding. The green pigment that gives them this coloration, similar in structure to thoracoverdin, is derived from the copper found on their diet. Even their eggs are colored green, similar to those of the white-knuckled echidna, and are usually covered in vegetation to help disguise them. In experimental conditions, or in individuals incapable of feeding appropriately, they will develop a clear plumage that reflects the pinkish hues of their skin. The improper formation of this plumage will cause it to appear fluffier and sparser, being incapable of properly isolating them from the water, and even their crest plumes will be disorganized and frayed, unlike the leaf-like ornament of healthy Forcorns. Given their success in this region, especially in areas where their predators have disappeared, the Forcorn has managed to expand into a lot of new regions and ecosystems, particularly to Australia and Southeastern Asia, and have, for the most part, retained the same habits and appearance that made them successful in their native wetlands. The one exception to this is the mountain Forcorn, a larger subspecies that has adapted to living at higher altitudes. To resist these colder climates, this Forcorn has developed a thicker body that helps it retain the heat, as well as a fluffier coat that insulates it from the cold. Its plumage is much lighter, reflecting the bluish tones of the sky and snow to help it camouflage, while its thorny quills keep most predators of this new environment at bay. Its feet are broader and thicker skinned, allowing it to walk on the snow without sinking or lowering its own body temperature too much. However, as well adapted as they are to this new environment, it is not without its hardships. While its much stronger beak and flatter tummy help it unearth and mash harder vegetable matter, food is still scarce in these regions, and as a result its populations are much smaller than those of their relatives. Adding to this, their tendency to hibernate in order to resist the coldest seasons means they are hardly ever seen, which resulted in this species only being sighted and described as recently as 2018. And that's it for Speculative Biology look into the Forcorn. I'll say the diversity of creatures found in these games is so fascinating that it was, if anything, rather nice to begin with a more straightforward example. We'll get to those with bodies made of cellos and flutes sticking out of them in time. So, with this little fella, its minimalist anatomy immediately gave us a flightless bird type of feel, and its apprehensive nature, social behavior and proclivity for singing only reinforced this notion. Also fun to figure out were its variants, the rare and epic Forcorn, which were rationalized as being the result of health situations and adaptations to colder climates, respectively. This even fits with the monster's elemental typing, having the plant and cold elements, although I suppose by making it a bird we also gave it the air element, in a way. So I hope you all had fun looking at this little guy. Over time there have been a lot of people asking to see something from this series, so big thanks to all of you. I hope to come back to it soon, as this was really fun to work on. And also thank you to our researchers and research associates who support us through Patreon and YouTube memberships. With special thanks to Aloe Berries for commissioning this one, and giving me a ton of resources and info to figure it out. Remember, you too can join in if you want to support our channel, and you get some really nice perks too, like seeing all of our creatures and videos ahead of time and helping mold them into shape. Or you can also like, subscribe, or write a comment telling me any type of creature you would like me to give the Spekibo treatment in the show. Any of those really help the channel a lot. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time on the Speculative Wildlife Research Center.